Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show, I think. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello. This could go on for days. And it probably will.
Yeah. Synth pedals. Non-MIDI synth pedals at that.
Yeah. Where do we start, Dan? So we had a little discussion before we started doing this video. And to this point, I'll play as usual, I'll play the idiot. The Midiot.
Midiot, very good.
I don't know anything about synthesis, right? And I've never been in the world of analog synths. Is that something you've dabbled with?
Dabbled.
Lots of people we know really, really seriously love synths. So your Moog and analog synths, basically. Which is one thing. When you say guitar synth to me, it means a MIDI pickup and making your guitar sound like a saxophone.
Right.
That's what guitar synth means to me.
You mean this thing?
I mean that thing. So you use...
Yeah. That stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the part in the song that requires a piano or a saxophone or a marimba.
Yeah.
And you click on that and it triggers samples, right?
It triggers samples or it can be triggering oscillators and things like that.
So to me, that's what guitar synth means, and hence why I go running for the hills.
Sure.
Because it's tough. It's a difficult world. It's very difficult in terms of frequency. It's very difficult to mix in a band. It's very difficult to, unless you've got a really great sound engineer, blah, 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 blah. Let's not get into that. But we're not talking about that today, are we?
No. I mean, so I heard Paul Stacey, I was over at the studio a couple of years ago.
Old man noises.
And he pulled out his guitar synth and just blew my mind. I was so inspired. So the next day I went out, got this fitted.
And in what manner was he using a guitar synth?
He had a bunch of old analog synths that he was triggering using the MIDI pickup.
So he wasn't doing the intro to Baker Street?
No, he was just creating sounds.
Right. So synthesis in the sort of traditional...
Yeah. So taking your oscillators and manipulating them and triggering them using, generally you think of keyboards are doing that, but you can do the same thing with a guitar. Basically, the role of the was the GK2A, was that the original one? Anyway, this is the GK3, but you have this pickup. And it's pickup in the traditional sense that each string has its own pickup in it, still a magnetic pickup. And that goes down through a special cable, and it takes all the information from each string and then converts that into MIDI information.
Yeah.
Yeah. and then manipulate it that way.
Well, I guess whatever the language is, and I think they were MIDI, weren't they? I don't know if they still are, but anyway, you can tell we're on thin ice here. It's just taking pitch, tempo, variation, pressure in terms of sound level. It's taking all that information, it's digitizing it, and it's triggering something else. It's saying play a and sustain it, or don't sustain it, or make it loud. Or make it soft.
Yeah, so it's basically...
And that's traditional MIDI.
Yeah, it's turning it into basically
triggering.
like a control voltage. Yeah.
But we are not talking about that today, are we?
No, we're not. No, we're not. So I'm going to put this away.
I thought it was important to set the scene. Other people will be going, well, you idiot, that's not how it works at all. But that's how it works in my mind.
Yeah. Boss years ago bought out the SY3000, I believe it is, which is the big synth pedal. And the big revolutionary idea with that thing is it didn't need a MIDI pickup. You could
go
plug
straight,
your guitar straight into it.
Is it 3,000 or 300?
3 billion.
Yeah, it's yellow.
Yen.
Yeah.
And it was revolutionary in that you had access to these great synth sounds, but it was manipulating the signal straight from your guitar.
Yeah.
And now they have released this, the SY1, which uses the same technology, but it's in a compact series. But before they released this, Meris brought out the Enzo, which, now let me get this right, the Enzo has 2 digital oscillators in it that you can manipulate and do all manner of weird, wonderful things. But it is, in that sense, it is synthesis, that you are manipulating oscillators, which is really cool.
What did the oscillators ever do to us, eh? All those poor manipulated oscillators. Whenever you say oscillator, I always think of ocelot.
Ocelot.
Which is an animal.
The other thing we have, so we've got a couple of other pedals
Could take a while today.
So the Synth Wah is an example of it sounds synthy, but it's not using any oscillators or anything like that. It's simply processing the audio.
Right.
Then we have the Swarm. Now this is really cool. It's converting the signal into a square wave and then manipulates it that way, but it's completely analog.
By Beetronics.
By Beetronics.
I can't believe it's taken us this long to get some Beetronics on the show, but they just make awesome looking and sounding stuff.
They do. And then we've got the Infinite Jets from Hologram, which is a different take on the synthesis. I just thought I'd stick that in there at the end for what that's doing is it's chopping up audio and mixing it together as opposed to the oscillator things. But there's some cool sounds in that as well.
And then we've got the Greer Lightspeed for a bit of fun.
Yep.
Just to get a bit of dirt going if we need it.
Yep.
And what's the Analog Man filter on there for? Because
it's a filter. So the filter is a really big part of the synth sound.
Right.
It's really important when you're creating your tone by manipulating the oscillators. So you might stack a few oscillators together and to tune them slightly, and then you get the sound.
Ocelots stacked together.
But then filtering that sound is a big part of getting that, big part of that thing.
Well, the only control I dared to touch during the intro there was the filter control. You heard that very, very clearly.
Yeah, on the Enzo. Yeah.
Cool. Right. So let's rewind then. When the Digitech Synth Wah came out, this green thing down here, I can remember them selling like hotcakes, and everyone had one because all of a sudden you could have that this sound. Go for it. Do me a favour.
Yes.
Play a chord.
A jazz chord?
Any chord you want. Play E major. So we stumble into two major downsides of the Digitech Synth Wah. One is it wasn't polyphonic.
Correct.
And as I understand it, most aren't. These are interesting because they add polyphony to the game.
Yeah, so that was a big thing because the
Polyphonic meaning polyphonic means it can do more than one note at once.
Yes. So if you think about the old Moog synths, and they weren't polyphonic.
Moog. Everyone will get very angry if you say Moog.
All right. Think about the
synth
old
people will be like
Moog. Yes, and so that you couldn't play chords on them. You could play lines on them. So it takes to do polyphonic. You need a number of oscillators to be able to, trick. But
Stop manipulating me.
It's the same thing with this. It's not polyphonic. So really good at single line stuff. But as soon as you play a chord, you can hear it just fall apart. It's like the old Boss OC2s.
Yeah.
Same thing. They were filters, but you couldn't hear the chord. It just falls apart.
Yeah.
Sorry, they weren't filters. That was the envelope filter. The OC2, the octaver, but it couldn't track more than one note at a time.
Yeah. So that's problem number one. Is it's not polyphonic, so you can't play chords, which is not necessarily a problem if you don't want to play chords. Problem number two is the frequency range in these things is crazy.
Massive.
So just play your bottom E string for a second. And all of a sudden, everyone else in the band has a total freak out because you've gone, I've got this great sound. You've programmed it up in your bedroom. I did this, by the way. You've got your awesome sound in the bedroom. You kick it on at the gig, and like your speakers want to jump out the cabinet. Everyone freaks out because it's just a totally different experience from a normal guitar frequency range, isn't it? Because you get all that extra bass, you get all that extra treble, and it can be really harsh. And then the sound guy looks at you like you've just blown his PA up. So they're hard to use.
They are hard to use. Yeah,
I think.
See, I heard what's that band? Oh, I can't believe it. The Hoosiers.
Yeah.
And I went and saw them live, and they had this one part of the song, this amazing sound come out. I said, "What was that?" He said, "Oh, it was the synth wah." So I went and got it, and I've been using it quite a lot since then. I've always mixed it with a bit of overdrive, so just synth wah by itself.
It's the Prince sound.
Yeah, it kind of has elements of that too.
Sounded like the beginning of When Doves Cry.
Weep.
Yeah.
Doves weep.
Did you recognise that?
No. What was it?
Did anyone else recognise that? Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch. Wow.
Do you know what's really nice about that synth wah? One of the things I wasn't expecting. So the next problem with all these pedals is tracking, right?
Yes.
Tracking meaning the delay it takes for you to pluck the string and for the thing to do its thing and for the thing to come out. So I was deliberately... And it's absolutely bob on.
Yeah.
Tracking.
Yeah.
Plus, you bend a note, it can almost cope with it. like maybe a semitone. It's not bad.
That's great. It's a cool sound. I used to use that all the time, probably too much actually. But I really liked it.
Sit and wait.
Bit of wobbly wibblyums.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very cool thing. A very cool thing. It's a sort of, you know, low tech sounding thing. Oh, great.
Killer though.
Really good. So moving on from that, there's no that's audio processing.
Yeah.
Right? We're not actually manipulating any oscillators or anything like that.
No ocelots in there.
No ocelots in there. What's an ocelot?
Have you never seen an ocelot?
No.
Oh man, we need to rectify this. That is an ocelot.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
It's like a little mini leopard, like a leopard crossed with your cat.
As a cat fan, as I am. Oh, look at that. It'd be awesome.
It sounds like a Monty Python character.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be like a marmoset thing, little. No, but that's a scary looking animal.
Yeah, it's an ocelot.
Less cute, more threatening than I would have imagined.
Oh no, I love cats, man.
No, but the cat's fine. Ocelot looks like a leopard.
Yeah. But they don't deserve to be manipulated, is all I'm saying, in the interest of synthesis. Right, sorry, where were we?
So let's go and have a look at the swarm.
So from ocelots to bees.
From ocelots to bees.
If you don't know what a bee looks like, Simon was filming bees last week.
Were you?
Yeah, he's got this like really long lens that you stick into their hive with a little ring light on the end.
To what end? Why would you be disturbing the bees in such a way? What are you trying to see?
Making a
Science.
film about saving the bees.
Ah, I see.
Got to save the bees, man.
50,000 bees on me.
Did you? 50,000 bees.
I'm on this.
So, as if by way of a perfect seamless link, imagine 50,000 bees in perfect harmony and put them in a pedal.
All right.
Yeah, does that work?
Yep. Here you go. Go for it.
Sold.
Done. How
What
awesome is that?
The flipping flip is going on there, Daniel.
Okay. So it is converting your guitar signal into a square wave. So this is what the square wave sounds like.
It's not digital, is it?
Not digital, analog. Current draw,
Throw things at the screen.
8
people.
milliamps.
I'm telling you, that's not digital.
Right, it's amazing. Right, so here you go. So this is your direct sound. Square wave.
Oh my God, is it polyphonic as well?
So that part, we'll get there. So basically, imagine it's like a fuzz, right? But complete square wave fuzz thing. Now, it takes that signal then. You have two harmonies. You've got the upper harmony. So let me just go back to, let's try this one. Sorry.
And it drops off with the pressure of your playing, right? So if you keep the pressure up, sounds like it's pressure sensitive.
Right. So you've got these two knobs here that are interactive. You've got the flight and the sting, and I'll tell you exactly what they are because I get them mixed up.
I'm totally using this.
So the flight sets the response of the frequency modulation.
Yeah.
And then the sting sets the rate of the frequency modulation. So, and you've got these different harmony. If I go back to the start. So with everything off, I'll just blend the notes back in. So just play for us.
Tell me about the at the end. That's how it ends, is it? That's how it that's when you you take the pressure off it.
So yeah, that dive bomb will happen differently depending on which harmony. So this center knob gives you different options for intervals between the notes.
It's just a mode switch, yeah? Which mode it's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a major, second. There you go.
Awesome. I'm loving angels instead.
Very good. Yeah, so that's a very cool sound. Now, if I take that sound, which is really full frequency and massive, and I put a filter on it, have a play with this. So back to this.
All the people at home are going, no more, my ears can't take it.
Let's play this for us. So that's getting closer. Just adding a filter on the end of it, you get a bit closer to what we understand is like a synthesizer type tone. So that, and all we've done there, if I get rid of the drones and the craziness, and we just have the square wave on, so just a square wave by itself.
Wouldn't it be ironic if our hearing was destroyed by these things? There's the intro to your new song. massively inspirational.
Oh, it's amazing.
To just a whole load of, because one of the questions that I've written down there, I've written down 3 questions, Daniel. What is synthesis? What is a guitar synth? And what's the blimmin' point?
Right.
I think the blimmin' point is, wow, really, really inspirational sounds.
Yeah. It just takes anything that takes you away from the center line. You know, it just and makes you think differently, makes you play differently. But I love it. Yeah, very cool.
I'm gonna spend some time with that. I love that.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
But you see how now when I put the filter at the end of it, you've got more reminiscent of traditional synthy type sounds.
Yeah.
So we were just putting the square wave into a filter, and away we go.
Again, I'll say this: I know nothing about analog synths, but when you look at them, that's what you've got, right? You've got different wave shapes, and then you've got filters, and then you've got oscillators, and then you've got all different things that you stack up to make the noises, right?
Your oscillator, which gives you your options for your waveform, yeah, and your frequency. And so then you're controlling the frequency of the oscillator with a VCA, voltage controlled amplifier.
Oh, I see.
So as the voltage comes in, that will dictate to the oscillator what frequency that's going to happen at.
Yeah.
And then you filter that sound, and manipulate it in any number of ways. It's and
then you
away you go.
Depeche Mode.
There you go.
Or Kraftwerk, or David Bowie, or anyone else.
So that's the Swarm. Let's have a look at the Enzo. Now the Enzo, because this came out before the SY1, the Enzo has 2 LFOs, digital LFOs inside it.
Ocelots and LFOs. Can it do a convincing elephant's trunk sound? Can it do that? I bet that's in the GR55.
Oh yeah,
all kinds of animal noises.
Yeah.
Farmyard animals.
Yeah, no, it's got the whole night zoo in there. It's amazing. Right, so the Enzo. So I've got it on poly mode at the moment, and what's happening, that gives you the ability to play chords. If I put it in the mono mode, I'll try to play a chord. This is really cool. So it also has, Taylor.
No, I think you were going to answer my question.
Right.
It also has
a thing called the arpeggio mode.
right. Is there a delay in there as well? Or
Yes, there's also a delay in there.
Right. Okay.
So I've got turned on, and there's also there's a ring modulator in there as well.
Get some ring mod up. How'd you do that?
I'll show you. I thought I'd better that mono mode because that was really cool. So you hear with the poly mode, the notes blend into each other, and it gives you, so you can play chords and things. But this.
Okay, so many questions.
Yep.
Firstly, all those things I was mucking about with, the filter, the pitch, the modulation, one would assume you can assign any of those to expression pedal control.
Yeah, you can. And you can, there's 16 presets, I think, in there as well.
Right.
That you can
So you can manipulate all that on the fly. One thing, I was very pleased to see on the side of the Swarm here, some kind of thing that made it louder and quieter.
Sure.
Like a master volume of sorts. That doesn't seem to be immediately available on there.
No, I think
because it was super quiet when you were the guitar coming through was super quiet.
Yeah,
Whereas if you go all the way around to the full guitar mix, then you wouldn't hear the synth, right?
Sure.
Just can you check if that's Unity volume stuff? It's not super quiet. We just had it quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the big differentiator between what we're hearing now with the Enzo and like the Synth Wah is the Synth Wah is processing the audio. The Enzo is basically using the signal coming from the guitar as like a control voltage, as a manipulator of the, I want to say ocelots now, of the oscillators. So yeah, you've got those two digital oscillators, and that is being manipulated by the information that's coming out here, but it's not using the audio.
Yeah.
it's sort of converting that into like a control voltage,
Yeah.
which is so clever.
And continuously varying as well, right?
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
change something, it's
Exactly.
not like just taking the first bit of it and then using that. It's continuously doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very cool. Does it, out of interest, do you know if it does? So these things, the two things that we've looked at already, and the SY1 when we come onto it,
Yep.
does that kind of huge, distorted, organy, paddy, synthy, nasty square wave thing, does that do that?
Yes, so that you can choose the waveforms in the oscillators. The one thing that annoys me about this is that every knob has a second function, but you can't see what they are. You have to until you really know the pedal.
Yeah, so
you've got
you
to keep
need to
going back to the manual. And by second function, I don't just mean like I've worked out that we've got a delay level and a delay time here, but a second function in this might be all your different filter types in areas, and then all your different waveforms and things like that.
Depending on the position of the knob.
Exactly.
And how do you access? So if you're talking about the delay, how do you just hold down something, do like a shift or something?
The Alt hold button here.
Right.
So if I press that and turn the delays all the way down,
The delay will be off, yeah?
the delay will be off. Press and hold that. Turn the delay up. So this is the different filter types. You
Yeah.
can go from the front of the note being filtered or the back of the note. So
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of the Enzo. I haven't spent a huge amount of time with it, but the time I spent with it, the sounds that I've got have been really inspiring. I love that the arpeggiating thing is awesome. But the other thing is there is so much. I mean, in all of these, but especially these two, my goodness, there's so much. You can go so deep in these things. So we're just really skimming the surface of it.
Yeah, you do. You need to. It's hours in, isn't
hours
it?
and hours and hours
Of just working it out and sat there with the manual and all of that.
all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I really like the sound of it. I love that filter control is really powerful, and the arpeggiator thing is crazy.
Is it appropriate to say that it's probably not just guitar either, is it? I mean, I guess none of these are just guitar, but specifically that you could feed any audio through that.
Any audio through it.
Is it
Yep.
stereo?
Yes.
Yeah. Mono in, stereo out. Yeah.
So the delays are stereo, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could use that. When I was just, the reason I say that was thinking about when we were messing around with the filter control. That's something you'll often hear on a mix or I don't know, some intro to a song.
Yeah, right.
So you could use it. You could just use it for all kinds of things. It would be super useful in any recording situation.
Just grab your bass for a second.
Not just
I'll just
as a guitar.
show you one thing with the filter that's really cool.
Get ready for funky.
Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah, you might be waiting. That's the truth of the matter.
The really interesting thing about synth is bass players have been using bass synths for a long time. I think because of the Moog stuff and had such great bass sounds.
Yeah.
So bass players have gravitated towards that sound for a long time.
My friend Roger Newell played bass in Rick Wakeman's band.
With the capes and had the 3-neck guitar.
Yeah, and he had the first 3-neck bass ever made. He had the old pedals at his feet for all those
Right.
synths.
Yeah.
I think that was a not an uncommon thing for bass players to do. Is it?
Yeah, because it's such great bass sounds. So if we go to the here we go.
How do we?
No idea. No idea.
It's mad, that crazy frequency
Yeah.
range that the synth starts to bring on. So what do you do then? Do you use compression? Do you use like EQ? How do you stop it from blowing your speaker cabs to bits?
Special, if you're using a bass with that sort of stuff, the bass amplifiers can take that. They're used to, that really full range frequency thing. But that's again one of the advantages of if your rig uses a full frequency, high headroom amp, then that stuff you've got so much more room to move with that stuff, which can be good, but it also can give you crazy volume levels. That
bass physically moved me when I turned the filter down, and it was like, oh god, and that's through a guitar amp, for goodness sake. Okay, so clearly endless possibilities.
Yeah.
Picking up on your point that there's loads of hidden stuff in that.
Yes.
There is no hidden stuff whatsoever in this.
Okay.
So this is new, right? The Boss SY1. It's the first time they've put this kind of capability into a compact pedal. It was whatever we talked about earlier, the SY300
3 billion.
or 3 million.
Yeah.
The SY30 gazillion.
Mm-hmm.
SY1. So what is it? It does some of the stuff that this does and some of the stuff that does, but it does it not in that way. So we're not dealing with the audio in the way that we were with that and this. It's got 11 types of synth sound.
Right.
And 11 variations of those 11 types.
Okay.
So whatever that is.
121.
If you're good at maths, yeah. Come on, Dan. Go for it.
That's what I've been looking for.
You go.
Okay, that's like doing a filter thing.
You go. And on the back, it's got a bass switch. So you can choose either guitar or bass for the input, which
Right.
I guess is just a frequency range thing. isn't funky. This isn't funky at all.
I liked that you could mixing the bit of direct in with the synth but sound. I thought that sounded good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, quite easy to get lost in there.
Yeah, a lot going on.
But what I would say is that simple ability to be doing that stuff without the need for a large unit or a MIDI pickup.
Yeah.
With that many voices and that many variations, simply without any deep menus. There is an app, by the way.
Right.
So you can do that as well.
And the control stuff is cool. That holding the hold feature and stuff is really cool.
You saw part of the way through there. If you put in a 2-button foot switch, you can do hold and then various pitch shifting effects, octave up or octave down, depending on the mode. And then the expression pedal control seem to be controlling the filter. I think depending on the mode, it either controls the filter or the depth.
Right. Very cool.
The effect.
And that filter, that like the tone control, which is the filter, is really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, that's super impressive on this one as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
I wonder if that's because you've heard it on so many records.
Yeah, right.
Or Saturday nights. Down at Ritzy's. Or wherever it is you go, Dan. Where do you go?
I'd rather not say.
To get
my funk on.
Get it on. It's just used very commonly in dance music, isn't it? That when they bring the filter up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And probably elsewhere, but that's certainly what I associate it with.
Very cool.
You turned on this at the end.
Yes. So the Infinite Jets, basically it takes in the audio and it chops it up and then just puts it together back in sort of random patterns. And I really like it, but I like at the end of the signal when you've already got something going on and it gives it an extra flavor.
Does Ed use this?
I think Ed's used it in some things. I don't know if it's permanently on his board. But for example, if we just take the
Ed O'Brien from Radiohead.
If we take the Lightspeed, if you play the bass for us for a second.
Bass?
And no, you got guitar on. Sorry, that's much better. Okay.
So I was getting all excited then. I can put the lights on again, Dan.
So if you just play a chord for us.
Oh, I see, it just keeps doing it. Is it time? Does it go, okay, I'm going to have the first 18 milliseconds of this?
Yeah, and then the next 18 milliseconds of it. And then it takes those two samples and chops them up and feeds them back into each other.
Okay. I don't have enough fingers.
To the hand. What are you trying to do? Pick which one?
No, I'm trying to play some low notes and some high notes at the same time. I'm sure there's an easy way to do it. It's really unpredictable in what frequencies it's going to pick and make loud.
But I'll show you one thing that's really cool with this. So if you just play a chord, and we've got the filter control here, right? Yeah. What I can do is I can automate the sweep of that filter control. So just play it for us.
there's a gate, is there, that cuts it off?
But yeah,
If I kept playing, it would keep doing it.
Yeah. So now if we take something like the Enzo, yeah. So it's really cool for them. Once you've got that audio, it can take that audio, chop it all up, and then sort of
How would you
manipulate
use it? What would you do?
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be doing much different. It's about this particular one. It's just about a texture that it puts it sort of in the background. So if I just turn the dry all the way off, okay. Yeah, but there's an unpredictable nature about what it's doing.
That's it.
I really like that.
I think like this, it's hours in.
Hours in, because all the knobs have got secondary functions and all that stuff.
I think this, the SY1, the Swarm, and the Synth Wah.
Plug and play, happy days.
Yeah, find a sound.
Yeah.
Relatively predictable because, well, once you get it going, it's not going to do anything different. I think with these, clearly, I mean, in a studio situation for creating textures and
magic,
just completely magic.
Yep.
The problem would then come for me trying to replicate that in
sure.
any kind
Yeah, of course.
performance situation. But you know, that's literally never going to happen to me in the rest of my life. So it's not my problem; it's your problem. Mind blowing.
Yeah,
Forces you to play something different.
it really does.
Forces you into different places, gives you frequencies and sounds that if you're not familiar with this stuff, as I am not, gives you stuff that you haven't heard before. That in itself is inspiring.
Definitely. Yeah, it's so much fun. It takes you out of that comfort zone. But you know, things like, you know, when I got this, I thought I'd just use it occasionally. I ended up overusing it because I enjoyed the sound so much. So, like for me, I am looking at going to something like the Enzo or the SY1, something that's going to give me some more options and more things to play with. And even if I only have 3 or 4 sounds that I can just poke in every now and then, brilliant.
Yeah.
But like the Infinite Jets, what I would do with that is create a sound and then maybe start looping it and, you know, do that sort of stuff.
I could see you doing that.
Yeah. For hours and hours by myself, all alone. That's how that would work. But so much fun. So much fun.
I think so. I'm going to play with this
Yeah, it's so cool.
I like that. That's insanely good sounding thing.
Yeah.
What have we learned?
What have we learned? We've learned that these sorts of devices, though they may not instantly, you might not instantly think, yeah, that's what I want or need. They're really good for drawing other things out of you.
And it's a push of technology, isn't it? They weren't available 5 years ago.
No.
Well, I don't know if this was, but this functionality certainly wasn't available 5 years ago.
So clever. So
yeah,
clever.
cool.
Brilliant. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button so you get notifications of all of our videos. Also, massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is...
Anderton's Music of Guildford in Surrey.
And in Australia.
Would be Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland.
And to our patrons on Patreon, guys, thank you so much. We literally couldn't do it without you, so thank you so much. And finally, to everyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed yourself a T-shirt or...
We've got new stuff in.
We do have new stuff in.
Yeah. Hopefully by the time this video goes out, we'll have some cool new stuff in, so you can stock up.
Go and check it out.
Awesome.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye.